Hello. When was the last time you took a look at your closet? I don't mean opening it up quickly to pick out your day's outfit. I mean really looked at it and evaluated the clothes that you have and where they came from. Today, people are very aware of the many misgivings of the fast fashion industry. We hear that the United States produces about 17 million tons of textile waste per year, and that the textile industry is expected to be responsible for around 2,791 million tons of CO2 emissions, 118 billion cubic meters of consumed water, and 148 million tons of textile waste by the year 2030. Yet some people still continue to purchase clothing from such retailers. Some consumers who don't buy directly from fast fashion outlets tend to believe that they are not contributing to textile waste. However, they are forgetting one key question. What do they do with the clothes that they already have, especially when they've exceeded their useful life? This presentation will touch on the difference between consumers' purchasing intentions and their actual behavior, as well as addressing the life cycle of clothes and the sustainable options available for clothing after they've exceeded their usable life cycle for that consumer. So why am I so interested in sustainable fashion? Well, this was my closet 3 years ago, and this is my closet today. Apart from being a tailor and a costume designer, I'm also an avid consumer of clothes. Now, there's a few things to note about these photos. One being my questionable fashion taste, and another being the sheer amount of clothes that I've accumulated over these last few years. I've chalked this up to a few things, including an increase in disposable income, as well as changes in my personal style and professional life that warranted a need for a more professional wardrobe. But perhaps even more telling than the clothing that I have pictured is the items that seem to be missing from the second photo. All of these items of clothing have left my closet, yet very few have entered the waste disposal stage. They're still in their active life. Most are in my possession, still waiting to be repurposed or rehomed. In fact, this blue crate, I'm really not sure if you can see my mouse, but right now I'm circling the blue crate in the second photo that's on the floor, is at the bottom of my closet, and it's actually a home for clothes that either need to be fixed or can be repurposed into other clothing items. So this figure shows the multiple stages of a piece of clothing's life and the types of pollution that occurs at each stage. The active life of a piece of clothing is depicted by the usage stage, and this is the active life once it's in a person's possession. So assessments of this life cycle have shown that by extending the average life cycle of clothing by 3 months per item, we could reduce our carbon, water, and waste footprints by 5 to 10%. And extending a garment's life via design, maintenance, and reuse of clothing is an effective way to reduce the environmental impacts of the clothing industry. So how do we prolong the longevity of a piece of clothing? Well, it all comes down to one thing: durability. In fact, consumer markets were shown to focus greatly on durability, as they associate it with quality more so than equating it to the environmental considerations. It's almost as if sustainability is a positive yet unintended side effect of making clothing that lasts longer. So during the development and production process, decisions can be made to significantly increase the durability of a piece of clothing. This can include structural fixes like choosing fabrics with greater tensile strength or using shorter stitch lengths. The longer the length of the stitch, the more ground it covers, i.e. the faster one could sew, thus making it the preferred method of the fast fashion industry. But a longer stitch length is more likely to get caught on things or cause the garment to fall apart due to its lack of strength. Design approaches such as these work to maximize something called emotional durability. Emotional durability is a long-time desirability in the eyes of a person who owns a particular piece of clothing. And this is done via positive associations that they have with the item. This can come from seeing the item as being timeless, a staple, or it just even being of exceptional quality. However, when purchasing a piece of clothing, consumers consider more than just the product's quality. In addition to wanting a piece of clothing that they believe is going to last, they also want to purchase something that aligns with their self-identity and is in line with exactly how the customer sees themselves. So studies have shown that customers with greater environmental knowledge were found to be more likely to be eco-conscious in their clothing purchases. However, there are other factors that influence their purchasing habits that ultimately leave a gap between that and their purchasing intention. One issue is that big businesses know that people are more likely to buy items that they think are environmentally friendly. So these businesses use a method called greenwashing, which refers to when companies deliberately try to get consumers to associate their company or product with being green or eco-friendly by using marketing tactics without them actually being any of those things. And companies are able to get away with this due to their lack of industry standards on what defines clothing as being sustainable, eco-friendly, organic, or green. Other factors that can help explain the gap between purchase intention and behavior can be explained by the TRA, or Theory of Reasoned Action model. It states that a favorable attitude towards a specific behavior might not be translated into actual behavior if the societal pressure from the individual's significant others or peers is lacking, meaning that despite having a positive association with the act of doing something, people may not actually do it if the societal pressure to participate is low. And although we as consumers are all aware of the negative implications of the fast fashion industry, it's the normative belief to still purchase clothing from them due to their low cost, on-trend fashions and ready availability. So to conclude, it's necessary as a consumer of clothing to evaluate our past purchasing and disposing habits in order to make informed decisions about the life cycles of our current and future clothes. As a consumer, you also have control over what you buy, where you buy, what you do, and especially what you do with the garment after it's already in your possession. When the perceived life cycle of a clothing item is passed, I recommend looking into options such as how to rehome or repurpose your clothing so that it can take on a new life. So please take a look at your closets. Thank you.